Hey guys, Kid here of Burn 1 with a new deck tech. This time on Kantai Collection. This is mostly focused for the Japanese version. If the English version ever comes out for the third set, European Fleet, then you guys can go wild with this deck. So this deck is a little spicier than other decks. We actually focus on one card that gets no attention at all ever when it comes to Kantai Collection builds, and that is the 2/2 Atago from set 1. It has 9,500 power and 2 soul. It's a 2/2 beater. It has a climax combo that was underutilized until set 3 came out because of its trait restrictions, which is climax combo with gold bar from the first set. On attack, pick 2 heavy cruisers from your waiting room, or up to 2 heavy cruisers that is, and add it to stock. Its secondary effect, which is the downside of this card, is on attack, you always have to reveal the top card of your deck, and if it's a level 0 or lower, then this card loses 2 soul for the turn, which is kind of unfortunate in some cases, but in some cases too, it actually is super helpful for soul control if you know what your triggers are. Before we get any deeper into this deck profile, shoutouts to Ben from the Ileana group. He was the one who kind of showed me his version of the deck, which I don't think anyone's really thought of before. He spends a lot of time with Kantai because he loves the boat girls. And he opened my eyes to the fact that there are a lot more heavy cruisers in the new set, especially at level 1 and 0. So you can take advantage of the Atago combo more than you could before. Because before set 3 released, that card was basically trash, is the nice way to put it. There wasn't enough heavy cruisers to actually utilize the combo, and the fact that it has that demerit of if you attack and reveal level 0, you lose 2 soul, it kind of hurts you. But now that the third set is out, there's a lot more options you can use. It's certainly not the best right now, but it does get the job done. So let's jump into level 0. Level 0 for the most part is a pretty standard level 0 game you would expect from Kantai Collection, especially since we're running green. We run, of course, 4 Akatsuki's. You've got to be able to mill our deck. There's no really good brainstormers in Kantai, unfortunately. It's something I wish the next set, if it ever gets released, gives us a lot of good brainstormers. Like even the draw 2 ditch 1 brainstormer would be super helpful. Actually, it might be the best brainstorm choice for the Kantai Collection deck, especially if you run yellow, because being able to draw events more often is always good. So we have the 4 Akatsuki's, we mill the deck, hand fix, and everything like that. It's pretty standard at this point. Then we do run 2 level 0 bombs from the second set. It's the clock bomb that also has shift. We picked this over some other stuff just because with this we can kill level 0s that are overstated, which is something that's been going around a lot lately. We get a lot of level 0 4Ks, but also it has shift in green. We do run a little bit lower 0 count than normal because of we were running Atago. So having the shift on it is helpful in fixing our hand if we open up poorly and we need level 0 attackers. Next is a card that actually doesn't come up very often. It has some very good effects. The whole reason though we do run it is because of its trait heavy cruiser. So this is a card we can tuck away in stock at level 2 with the combo, but it also has 2 good effects that are good all game for the most part. So the first effect is on a play, look at the top 2 cards of your deck and then you put them back so you know the triggers and everything, which is great. So it helps with attack orders and everything like that. The second effect is on play, it gains 1500 power. So the card itself is 2k base, and then on play it becomes 3/5, so you can contest other 3/5s or vanillas or lower power characters. So both effects are pretty good. The first effect, of course, being more useful throughout the whole game. The second effect, add 0, is pretty good. Just being able to get that 1500 pump to be 3/5, and then at least match other 3/5s and get rid of them so your opponent can't plus off of that. Then our choice card is the Z1, Z3 level 0. It's 500 power, which is nothing. But the first effect is whenever you level up, you can always choose to pay 2 to search your deck for a ship girl and add it to hand. We use this effect to get certain key cards to our hand at level 1 or even 2 occasionally. We search out the Atagos because we need those. We search out the level 1 game, and we also just thin our deck a little bit more and make sure we have our hand size up, because our hand size does kind of degrade a little bit if we're not very careful until we hit level 2, and especially if our level 2 game kind of falls apart, it can hurt us. So this is one way to kind of keep some hand size up. But the second effect is what we use the most, which is tap, give a character 1500. It's a startup, so it does help our level 1 game a lot, and 1500 power here and there is very helpful. Makes it very hard for people to contest us on when they're on defense, and we're just always gonna have a lot of power because of it. Unfortunately, that card is not heavy cruiser. Our last card here is this 002K. It's on play. Clock yourself from the top of your deck, and then dish a card, and then you search your deck for a climax. We play it as a 1-of. It's 2K power, so it can't really fight too many things unless we have the support out. But we play this because it makes both our climax combos fairly consistent. Then we always have the opportunity to find the climax if we need it, especially if it's still in the deck. That way, we never really miss our combo for the most part. So for example, using the Z3's effect, when you hit level 1, if you know you don't have the stock soul for our level 1 combo, you just go ahead and pay to search this out if you don't have it already, and then you have the combo in your setup for your level 1 game, since you'll be able to play this to get the combo. Alright, so going into level 1, of course we're playing the Prince combo because we are playing green. It's probably the best combo in Kantai Collection for a level 1 advantage engine right now. The combo is on attack if you have the stock soul climax and you have another green character. You're able to pay 1 and then search your deck for a ship girl character added to your hand, and then until the end of your opponent's turn, this card gets 2000 power. So after you do the combo, it's a 1065 base until the end of your opponent's turn, which puts it in a range of counter range for most other opponents' level 1 combos. Usually you have the support out that gets global 500, so just being able to counter with 1500 power is usually enough to overdo most search combos that are out, because usually those combos only get up to 775 usually. Of course too, since it's green, this is pretty much a standard green level 1 game. Oh, and also the Prince itself is actually heavy cruiser as well, so it's always a target to put into stock with your Atago, which is great. It's another reason why Atago got better, is because the level 1 game has heavy cruiser trait, and you're just able to fill up your level 1 game with heavy cruiser trait, so you can just have more cards to stock away with the combo. The next card we have here is the Maya. It's used in almost every green deck as well. It's a 5k power, but once per turn, whenever you use a startup, it gains the effect if the battle opponent of this gets reversed. You can blind stock the top card of your deck to stock. This is really good because, like I said, at 0 we have the tap the level 0 Z3, give something 1500 power, so you can give it to this 1-0 Maya. It becomes 6/5, and then once it reverses something, you get free stock off of it, which is great because you do end up using a lot of stock early on because of your Prince combo, and whenever you level up off the Z3, you do end up eating a lot of your stock, so this helps build back a lot of stock. And on defense too, it's great because we do run a 1-1-2-5 counter. Then it makes this 7/5, and then you reverse something, and then it's basically paid a 1-0-2-5 counter because you get the blind stock off of reversing your battle opponent. This card is also heavy cruiser trait as well, so it's another target to stock away. Then here we play 2 of the 1-0 Bismarck. It's basically whenever you use a star up, it gains 1500 power, and it's a 5/5 base itself, so it becomes 107k. With counters in the tap 1500, it gets really big. That way you can run over things at 1 that are normally really hard to run over. And defensively too, your opponent always has to be worried about if you have a counter or not. So usually this is going to be with a global 500 support. You're looking at 7/5 plus like a 1500 counter, makes it 9k minimum, which is great. And so that's our other beater for level 1. We don't use it very often, but it does come up sometimes where you just need that power. Next, we run 2 of the Z3's Way support card. It's a 1-0 global 500. This is our choice support card for basically the rest of the game, because its secondary effect is whenever you use a startup, you can give a character 1k. So it makes all your counters instantly splittable counters, when you use a startup. So it makes your 1125 into a 35 1K splittable counter, which is great. So you can put power everywhere kinda and make it really hard on your opponent to get over everywhere, because your field usually gets pretty big after that. But yeah, and every turn you're using a startup to tap, give something 1500, then you can give something else 1K. You just kind of have like this power advantage all game, as long as you're able to keep cycling startup effects and counters. Next, we run 2 of the 2-1, 2-5 counter from set 1. It's a 1-1, 1-5 counter, but when you use this backup, if you can give one of your battling ship character or ship fleet characters extra 1000 power, so it's a 1-1-2-5 counter. Then we run 2 of the 1-0 yellow submarine 1500 vanilla counter. The reason we run this is because it's yellow. We need some costless counters in here for the effects. That way we can get more advantages off whenever we're able to use a costless counter with the Maya or something like that. We just get really good advantage with that to build stock and stuff like that. And then finally, of course, because we're running yellow, we're still running 3 compass counters. Compass is probably one of the best event counters, I would say, in existence for the most part. It just has so much utility. It has so much good setup to mill your deck on your opponent's turn, randomly just blank out attacks and things like that, and you can start using it at 1, which is my favorite part of the card. It's just such a solid card. Now we're on the centerpiece of the deck, which is the level 2 Atago. Like I said before, it's a 2-2-9-5 2-soul beater with the climax combo with the gold bar, which is on attack, pick up to 2 heavy cruisers from your waiting room and put them into stock in any order. Secondary effect, which is on attack, reveal the top card of your deck. If it is a level 0 or lower, this card loses 2 soul for the turn. The second effect is annoying sometimes, but at the same time, it can be beneficial. There are some games where your opponent will just have no front roll because you've played 3 Atago and they've just kind of crashed into it for 1 turn. And then if you reveal level 0 when you're attacking directly into it, you're going to hit for 1 or 2 if you have climax out, which is pretty good either way. And if you reveal a level 1 or higher, then you end up swinging for 4 or higher normally. Basically, the game plan of the deck is to get 2 to 3 of these out. Use the combo like 2 to 3 times to compress your deck, and then it becomes incredibly small. At that point, it's really hard for your opponent to get damage in to you, as long as they're swinging for like 2 or 3, which at that point of the game they should be, because they'll be playing level 3s if they're playing their normal game plan. After level 2, we have our finishing game once we get out of level 2 and we are done dealing with their level 2 game plan and stuff like that. We hit at level 3 and we're going for the game. We do have 3 Musashis in this version of the deck. This is just a push for game. If they cancel, then you mill the top card of your deck, and whatever level that card is plus 1, they take that much damage. Everyone knows this effect by now. You have a lot of level 1s in this deck, so you're usually hitting them for 2 most of the time. There's not that many zeros in this deck as well. After that, we run 2 Yamatos from second set, which is on play, getting shot trigger, and then you can pay 2 extra to give another character or itself shot trigger, so you can burn twice. We build a lot of stock in the deck. This is one of the ways we can just abuse that stock. We just play the Yamato and then just give all the shot triggers to all the characters, basically. Finally, we play 2 level 3 Prins. On play, if you have the level 1 Prins in waiting room, you can put it underneath as a marker. If this card has a marker when it attacks, it gains 1000 power times the cost of the card across from it. So it usually gets big. It usually gets 2k power when it fights a level 3, so it's like 12k base. And then it has the effect once per turn. When the battle opponent of this, or when you play this card, you can do this effect once per turn. When the battle opponent of this card gets reversed, you can pay 3 and discard 1 card from your hand to stand this card again. It's another way to finish the game out. And this level 3 also has heavy cruiser trait, so just another card you can be stocking away. Yeah, so that's basically deck. The game plan is just to do a heavy compression game into your level 3 finishers once you get pushed into level 3. There's some games where you'll get to the Atago off and then you'll just be at 2 for like 4 turns because you just keep canceling and avoiding refreshing. And then the times where you know you're have bad compression, you just use your compass counter and then you end up usually blanking out an attack or forcing yourself to cancel because you dig so many cards deeper. Finally, we run the stock soul for the level 1 combo and the gold bar. The gold bar is great for the Atago since it makes it pretty easy for us to get the gold bar in our hand pretty consistently, and whenever you trigger one you don't feel that bad because just the very next turn you just end up playing it again and gaining a ton of stock off of the Atago. In conclusion, the deck is pretty interesting. It's definitely a deck no one sees too often, so if you're looking to break out Kantai collection with something that's like a roguelike deck, this is something you'd want to try. This is the first version I've put together. I've only tested it a handful of games. Each game it's been pretty solid, so if I have time in the future I might look at it more, or I might just end up waiting until there's some more support for Kantai collection, especially a Brainstormer. I would love them to print a Brainstormer, even if it's a PR Brainstorm that it's like a draw 2 ditch one. I'd be so happy, even if it was just like search anything really. Honestly, that's a blessing Brainstorm that doesn't suck like the current ones that are out right now. Well guys, that concludes this deck profile video. I hope to see you guys in the next video. Later. Thanks for watching guys. If you want to support our content, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, as it does help us to grow. And if you're feeling a little bit more generous, check out our Patreon at patreon.com/burn1.